So how do you battle that paradigm as a coach, right? How do you get girls to really understand there's a lot of failure, right? When you're going to face these high end pitchers, I would say probably more so than there is in baseball. And I think now there's a shift in output and offense in the NCAA, especially. Like, what was that change like? What was that transition? And now, how do you embrace it as a coach and as a team?
Okay, so I think my methods are a little different than a lot of people are willing to admit. But for me, so if we're facing someone that's a high strikeout person, they're more than likely they're going to go up. So we know that. Um, so let's say they average 11 strikeouts a game, as a that pitcher does. Okay, so but before we get to 11 strikeouts, I don't worry about it. Like I just don't worry about it because I think it's almost asinine as a coach to be like, well, this girl's lead. I mean, I'll even say her name, Hope Troutline was in our league last year. It was averaging like 11.8 an outing per seven. I think it's asinine as a coach to be like, all right, we got to go in there against Hope and not strike out. It's like, dude, she strikes out like, I mean, it's just gonna happen. Like, just get over. Until we get to 11, let's not worry about it. Let's figure out how, with the other 11 outs that we're gonna have, let's figure out how we're gonna score some runs with the other 11. And then once we get to 11, let's see where we are in the game, how the 11 strikeouts happen, and then let's go from there. Let's make an adjustment from there. But until you get to that number, like, don't worry about it, dude. Like, that's her average. Like, if she holds you to 7 or 8, you're like, hey, man, we must have got a whole bunch of swings off. If we get to 15 or 16, it's like, okay, how are the strikeouts? Was she really good that day? Did we even get any swings off type of thing? And I think a lot of coaches, they're like, well, I'm not going to do that. Like, our team, we're going to go up there, we're going to compete, we're going to be tough. And it's like, no, you're going to strike out. Like, strike out. Like, I'll give an example. I talked with one of the teams that was one of there. I did some in the Olympics. I talked with their coaching staff, and they saw some of the stuff I did. They came down and visited with me a little bit, and they were like, how are you going to hit how do we hit the beat Monica? How do we hit the rise ball? And I was like, look, this is what's going to happen against Team USA. I said, your 8 or your 9 hole has to get on with less than 2 outs. I said, late in the game, you need to either be 0-0 or down a run. Somebody needs to get a swing off, and then there either needs to be a sack, a squeeze, sack fly, or something for you to score the run to win the game. That's how you're going to win. And if you strike out 16 times, you strike out 16 times. It's like, but if you're trying to get late in the game with the bottom of the lineup up, hope somebody gets on, my top comes up less than 2 outs, somebody gets a swing off, we can win the game. That's how you're going to win the game. And your pitching's got to match them 0 for 0. And he just kind of looked at me. He was like, I don't want to strike out that much. I'm like, dude, Monica has been striking people out for 25 years. Like, just get over it. Like, that's how you're going to win. And sure enough, it was 1-0. They got to the 6th inning. The 8-hole hitter walked. The 8-hole hitter walked. 9 bunted her over. They pinch hit for the 9 spot. 9-hole pinch hit comes up, hits a double in the right center. They get thrown out at the plate, though. They got thrown out at the plate. But they had a runner at third with 1 out, with the top of the lineup up. Top of the lineup comes up. Top of the lineup just misses one. Didn't hit it deep enough to get the sack fly. Next kid grounded out. They lost 1-0. They had a chance. They did exactly what they needed to do. They just didn't get the runs across when they needed them done. And so then at the end of the game, you're like, ladies, we did exactly what we needed to do. It just didn't fall our way that time. And I think a lot of coaches have a hard time saying, we got to the spot and it didn't work. And then they're like, we should have done something else. It's like, nah, dude, you were right there. If that run scores, if she doesn't make that good of a throw to the plate, it's 1-1. If she hits that ball 10 feet deeper, it's sack fly, it's 2-1. You go out in the 7, get 3 outs. We win 2-1. We won.
Yeah.
Just didn't roll your way.